Okay, special counsel update. Earlier today, the city council ratified the contract 42-7. Thank God that's done. The big heavy lift is over, but the fight is not done. We have labor agreement, but we do not have labor peace. And by that, I simply mean they rejected the second part of the contract award for arbitration for termination cases. They had 33 no votes. I'm going to go through the yeses and the aldermen who supported us and supported labor in this city, because the rest of them absolutely did not. And they'll have to live with that vote, along with the mayor who championed this to begin with. So, Alderman Hopkins, Beal, Chico, Lee, Quinn, Lopez, Curtis, O'Shea, Tabares, Cardona, Villegas, Spazzato, Nugent, Napolitano, Riley, Gardner, and Silverstein. Thank you for doing right by our membership. Thank you for doing right by labor. Some of the unions who supported us in this endeavor, I want to thank them too, because they allowed us to use their union logos in an advertisement in the Sun-Times today to show unity and labor support. We fully expect to grow that support now since they threw the gauntlet down, but I'd be remiss without thanking the sergeants, lieutenants, and captains of CPD, their associations, local 2 firefighters. Again, looking forward to the alliance that we forged with the firefighters union now, and then the trade unions. So we have operating engineers 150, plumbers 130, Teamsters 705, IBEW 134, CTA Amalgamated Train Union 241, and pipe fitters 597. I want to thank their leadership for their support. I hope we can count on it going forward, because this fight's not going anywhere. But specific to today, on and on and on, I kept hearing aldermen talk about something that had nothing to do with what was going on and what this whole art award was about. They keep talking about the John Burgess, about the shootings and the killings and police officers do. The reality is criminal behavior gets adjudicated in court. We are talking about discipline. And then the overriding theme kept transparency, 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 transparency. This will affect transparency, set us back decades. It's a farce. The reality is here. The police board deliberates in private behind closed doors, the same as an arbitrator does. We actually had provisions on the table, somewhat negotiating against ourselves, if you will, because labor law is very solid on this, and we did not have to offer a single inch of ground. But we did, because we heard the city's position about transparency and public trust. So we offered, basically unsolicited, for the ability of the charges to be filed on an agreed upon city website, for the status of the case to be filed on a city agreed website, and for the arbitrator's final ruling after the appeal process is over and there is no appeal time left, that could also be posted on the city website. So you can see an arbitrator's ruling and rationale for why they did what they did, whether they upheld it or whether they lowered it. Either case would be posted there for everybody to see. Again, we never had to offer that, but we did. It was not enough transparency, apparently, because it's always been the city's way or no way. So this was never about accountability or transparency. It was, you are going to take our offer or else. Well, or else. Now here we are. Some of the ridiculous comments that were actually uttered on the council floor. Let's start with good old Alderman Jason Irvin, who literally was talking about all the money spent on police misconduct after they just capitulated to the fact they weren't going to fight a couple more cases and settle them for a couple more $1 million. So now they have an argument to make about police misconduct instead of fighting them and challenging them in court, because some of them are pretty egregious and frivolous, to say the least, including someone that was sitting in front of me today chiming in all day long. The fight's on, young lady. But Jason Irvin kept talking about, so what? We throw money all the time. We might as well throw money after this. If we get taken to court and we end up losing, so what? It's worth the fight. They don't care about labor law. It's very obvious. Every single one of those no votes were a vote against labor, and that should frighten everybody. Today it's us. Tomorrow it could be your union. I guess unless you're CTU, because nobody wanted to hear about CTU. and all the wrongdoing that gets swept under the rug, and they have a very, very private policy when it comes to discipline proceedings. But I guess that doesn't matter. Again, there was example after example of criminal behavior being thrown into this conversation. That gets adjudicated in court. They're all fully aware by now what Kim Foxx has done to officers, trying to hang them to dry every single chance they got. This isn't that. This is the discipline process. It's entirely different, and it's much fairer. The police board has proven time and time again that they are not fair. Their hearing officers reject routinely the ability for anybody to question the investigatory person at COPA and why they did what they did or why they didn't do something else to understand. You're not allowed at the police board to question the COPA investigator every single time that motion is denied. But they're going to sit there and tell you it's a fair and transparent process for everybody but the officer. And that's just the facts. And that's where a lot of this has been borne out. And that's why routinely Arbitrator Ben has said arbitration is the option for the union if that's what they want. Well, that's what we want. That's what we're going to get. The city is going to lose it. Our board of directors will be meeting tomorrow to discuss the next steps, including the possibility of a civil lawsuit against the city and every single alderman that voted no in behalf of the 30 plus officers currently waiting for this decision to be done, who either have police board cases ongoing or had them adjudicated already back to the date of the actual filing for this request. It's roughly about 30 officers affected by this. And we're going to have a discussion about whether we're going to file on behalf of those officers, because shame on this city council and shame on those 33 aldermen who think this is about anything other than a labor union. Onward we go. See you in court or see you in city council. The choice is yours.